Okay, welcome to Perpetua Live Unbroken podcast. This is number 4, and we finally have the one with the big dog. Finally, we've done a couple.
Me twice before.
we've sat down and recorded 2, and we've had technical problems. So I'm going to put it down to me learning the trade a little bit. But now we're in number 4, getting a bit more dialed in. So welcome to the Unbroken and the Perpetua Nation. And if you don't know, if this is your first time joining us, before we do a bit more of an introduction to who we are, this is our Live Unbroken podcast out of CrossFit Perpetua in Battersea, southwest London. We are under a railway arch, and while it's nice and quiet at the moment, it's a little bit echoey, but while it's nice and quiet at the moment, you might hear some trains going overhead.
What train is that?
The pain train. The pain train. So I'm here this month with the owner of our gym, the founder of our gym, and the guy who created Perpetua Nation and the Live Unbroken, the home of the Unbroken, and all of that great stuff. My name's Gilesy. I'm one of the coaches here, and I host the podcast. And today's episode, we wanted to start this off, the podcast, or I wanted to start the podcast off. I say we. I wanted to start the podcast off with kind of your story and a bit of a what was the journey getting to the gym? Because I was talking to you before we started the podcast and said I was one of the, you said witnesses, but I said lucky for you to kind of know a bit more about your story and how we got to here and how the gym actually became the gym. And I thought it's interesting, and it'd be interesting for new members, old members, people thinking about joining the gym to kind of understand why we do what we do and how we do what we do. And I think that comes a lot from what you've done and how you got here.
Yeah, well look, I'll start by saying that I'm not exactly comfortable talking about myself. It's not something you know what I mean? It's just not a thing I do that often, you know? So
no.
It's best to just talk about what we do rather than me and see if it all follows.
But I quite like a little bit of the background story.
Yeah, there's a basis to it all, right?
Yeah,
there's a reason for everything, and it usually comes from some personal experience, you know?
100%.
You know, when people say, like, you know, what's your business? I'm a gym owner, run a gym. It's not something I kind of like, you know, when they say it's a gym business, it's not something. That's not the reason I'm in this, you know.
It's not so much about owning a gym.
No, I think I own an experience.
Yeah,
that's what I own. That's what I manage. That's what I've created. And I did it for personal reasons, you know. I mean, I created this experience because it was lacking in my life. I suppose, you know, there was a big hole to fill, and I couldn't really find environments or experiences or a collective kind of place where people could congregate and certain things could happen. You know, it was a difficult time, I suppose, and so I had to kind of create my own environment. Which is what this is, you know, and the environment was just about, like, you know, having fun, being honest, doing things right, getting down into things, research, discovery, constantly evolving, you know. And a gym when it's done right is a great place for all those things to happen.
Definitely, it's a great facilitator for those things, right?
Yeah.
So let's quickly start. I know you don't like talking about yourself. Talk a little bit about where you kind of started it before, just a little bit before that I know about where you started before the gym and stuff. So you used to play rugby heavily.
So all you're asking is how did that hole appear?
So you used to, a little bit.
Yeah.
But you started in rugby, pretty high level.
My background is rugby. You know what I mean? My dad put me into that when I was 6. He's a rugby player, ex-athlete, you know, pretty good one. And I just fell in love with the game, you know what I mean? At that age, I was kind of like bigger than everyone else, so it was a bit of a...
Still are bigger than a lot of people.
Yeah, well, well, I don't feel like that anymore, but I've seen some big guys.
Yeah, okay.
So, you get some perspective real quickly when you get into a professional setup and you realize, hang on, you know, this is what it looks like. So your eyes get open. So, look, I played rugby all my life. Loved it. You know, it was something I felt that, you know, when I crossed the white line, I just became a different person.
Yeah.
I had focus, I had belief, I had, you know, all the attributes you want as a person, you know what I mean? Like, that's confidence and stuff. And the challenge, like stepping up to the plate all the time, and then advancing that and playing with better players, playing on bigger arenas, playing for more more on the line, you know.
Yeah, you play for some cool teams, man.
Yeah.
Like, some, a really cool era of rugby as well. Like, I didn't, when I first met you, I was like, oh, cool, Micheal Price seems like a real cool dude. Like, man, like, that, just here, like, I got introduced by Aussie to you. I was like, cool.
Impressions are
and then found out that you like played rugby for Bath and stuff. I was like, what? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you sent that article to us as well, which is really cool, from BlackRock.
Yeah. That was recent, So, look, I played with some really good players. We were kind of the golden generation of rugby players all on one team in one school.
Yeah.
It's pretty unique. I think 14 of us went professional straight off the back of it. We were good teams, a lot of household names. So yeah, it was a privilege to be in that sort of, to have that opportunity to play. You didn't know how good these guys were going to get.
Yeah.
But now you can kind of look back after and get some perspective and see their careers as rugby players and go, hang on a second, that was something to be very grateful for a start, you know.
Yeah.
To have that experience. I went into straight out of school into a professional rugby environment, which was tough.
Yeah.
To be honest, because you know there's a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah, proving
you might be the best athlete, the best rugby player, all the talent in the world, but if you're not grown up enough to handle that, you got to learn fast. You know, you're going from boys to men overnight.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no transition. It's not like
they come. They hold your hand and bring you in and be like, "This is the setup. Here you go."
Yeah, I went from like playing school rugby to that summer in a squad of 30 odd, and 27 of them were fully capped internationals. Yeah. You know, household names.
And
guys I grew up watching playing, and like you're just there, you're at training now, and you're just looking around at the squad, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. You know? I mean, I played a bit of nowhere near the same level. I played a bit of hockey, and I got to play with the senior team. Like I got to play with like Guildford Flames and train with those guys, and it was kind of this is cool. I'm playing with the grown-ups, like as a 17-year-old kid. I have no comprehension what that's like when you walk in. You see people that you like watch on the TV and play rugby and international rugby players. Must be a different kind of gear.
Yeah, but I embraced it, man. You know what I mean? I loved it. You know what I mean? And to be honest, where I really stepped up is you can. You know, they obviously have all the experience and the confidence as players that have gone on to play for their country and do like amazing things on the rugby pitch. But I stepped up on the fitness level day one. Yeah. You know what I mean? I went there and made my mark straight away. I think I beat their beat test record. You know, in the first month of training. You know, I was first there, last to leave. I did the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like I was there, but I think off the field was the hardest part for me. You know, it was like you got a lot of free time. You know, you don't train for every minute or hour of the day, so you probably have 3-4 hours of training, and then the rest of the time you're really left. You know, I think it's different now. They got a lot of university. They take up some sort of small roles in enterprise that they're interested in. So when they finish up, they can kind of move on and move swiftly into the next phase of their life. But back then, it just gone professional, 27. So it's a lot of hanging around, and that's not a good thing for me personally. Too much time to think. You know, I'm the kind of guy who needs to be active all the time. I need to be thinking, moving, doing.
I can attest to that.
Yeah,
like working.
Always
doing stuff.
Always. I just got to be that way. You know, idle time is not good for me. You know, and there was a lot of it. So, to be honest, that started to affect my on-field performances and stuff like that. You know, it started to drift a little bit, lose focus, lack confidence because of external things that were going on, which affected me on the rugby field, which then affected me. Like, I'd grown up with you know, I wasn't a golden boy, you know what I mean? I knew how to cause trouble, or I knew how to get into trouble. Yeah. And but I got away with it for a long time because I was pretty good at rugby ball, you know.
And you made up for it on the pitch.
Yeah, I just kept everyone quiet that way, you know.
Yeah. So we'll kind of move on a bit from the rugby days, and like you said, we've talked before, and I definitely know this. We can get down some rabbit holes and stuff, but we'll move on. So obviously you had a bit of a bit of trouble, and then kind of came out the other side. I won't delve into that too much unless you want to talk a little bit about
that. No, it just became a spiral effect, you know. You start to lose the things that matter the most. You can't really control it. You can't. There's nothing you can do to kind of stop the knock-on effect of consequences that are coming off the back of bad behavior and stuff like that. You know, what I mean? It becomes out of control, and it's like, you find yourself, you know, justifying things, and then slowly it gets worse and worse. But you justify, you know what I mean? You sort of slide down the ladder that way. And look, I don't have any regrets, man.
Well,
yeah, I really don't.
Gives you, we're talking gives you perspective. On
I've got things
appreciation,
where I'm
understanding.
Like, there's certain things that I'm not proud of.
Yeah,
but they're not a regret.
No,
because I feel that
you took
I couldn't have done it any other way.
Yeah. So we got the rugby career. Yeah. We have a bit of a crash.
Yeah.
And then you go to the States. Was that the next part of the journey? Like.
Yeah, well, no. Well, yeah, I went to the States after the rugby career kind of evolved dissolved over 5 years.
Okay.
And then, I was left in a pretty place where I kind of met that crossroad in life, you know.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm very grateful for that I got to that crossroad without any real serious consequences. That I was, you know, I felt like there's a decision to be made now, and I can go left, and I know exactly what is down that road. I've been down it a million times, or I can go right and try something else. So you know, obviously you kind of go and go, like, you get some, I don't know. It takes courage, man, to make those decisions and go the road where you know there's a lot of uncertainty about how this one's going to play out, you know. Anyway, I went right, you know. So with that said, it's kind of like after all was said and done, there was a huge hole left from not being in a rugby setup anymore. Party lifestyle was over. You know, all of that was done and dusted. So the hole was there to be filled, and it was either going to fill it full of new things, and you know, or I was going to fill it full of trouble. Yeah. So.
Yeah, which is normally the way, isn't it? You know, either find it with something.
Well, it's the way I've done it my whole life.
I
constantly just found a way to kind of get.
But I think there's a lot of people that go. I mean, you know, I think everyone has their own little journeys and their own little life decisions and their struggles, and sometimes, you know, when you go through stuff or you have a high and you can only go to a low, and everyone has varying degrees.
I consider myself very fortunate, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, I look you in the eye now and I'll tell you I'm one of the fortunate ones. Because like when you're brought to your knees, you're there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think there's a few people that will be watching, listening, going, I kind of relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the cool thing is the fact that you went and filled it with something that you're truly passionate about, and that kind of created what you're.
Well, I was constantly in this state of mind after, like, you know, I kind of corrected my life and maybe started making better choices and looking after myself and just self-love, you know what I mean? It's just, you gotta love yourself, you know what I mean? In the right way, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about love yourself in an ego sense, I'm just talking about
look after yourself, well-being, like take care of the, you know, I talk quite, this is my own opinion, and I think I might have mentioned on the podcast before, but like, you have this consciousness, and the only thing carrying that around is this vessel, this body. You kind of got to look after that. Like, everything else is, you know, a luxury, really, like a car or a house or whatever. Like, the main thing is the body, and that's why, one, I coach, and two, I train. It's because I'm a big advocate of that. So I think that you do have to love yourself. You have to put some work into it.
You know, and things you do need to be relative, and that's why what we do at Perpetua is so relative to you as a human being. You know, you need the things that we do and we practice. You know, and that's the way I see it. Like, that's why I do what I do. You know what I mean? Everything I do is relative to kind of living. To going out and living the best life I possibly can, you know?
Mm-hmm. I hear some beeping. Can you hear beeping?
Yeah, man. It's like a bomb's going off.
Oh, there's a siren as well. Apologies if you're picking up loads of noise at the moment. We'll battle through.
Oh, there you go.
That's why the other two haven't surfaced. Apologies for the beeping. I can't figure out what that is.
Let me.
We shall pause for 2 seconds.
Back on.
Back on. Game on.
Right.
If you're a Wayne's World fan, you get the reference.
I just defused the bomb.
So, yeah, man, we were talking about filling the void, and and how we kind of.
Well, just things what we do, and like what I do today is very relative to the life I want to live.
Yeah. So how did you kind of? What was the next step from there? You kind of made that tough decision.
Yeah.
And then where did we go? What did you kind of do after that? How did you get to this place?
Yeah, well, that kind of took me to the States. I went to the States. Took a role as a player coach for a team in San Diego.
That's part of the world.
Yeah, good part of the world. A couple of the guys that were on the team. There's a lot of Navy SEALs on the team, a lot of military.
Yeah.
And this was 2000 and sort of in 2007. So CrossFit was still it was still very unknown. It was in the focus of the military. They kind of latched onto it to a point. But it was something that people had a lot of doubt around, and people didn't know what to kind of make of it. Everyone was, when you looked at CrossFit for the very first time, it was just kind of went against everything that you'd done and practiced and been told before. In the sense of kind of like you separate up all of this and you develop it on its own. Whereas CrossFit kind of just piles it all in.
Chucks in the blender, switches the switch
totally.
onto max, and let's go.
Yeah, and when you look at that and you have some training knowledge, and it's hard to sort of figure it out, because you're just like, this is so far removed from what I've been told. Yeah. But you know what? Because the guys who were on the team, they'd obviously started playing around with this. They convinced me, and the way they played and the levels they were at, and the way they could. The capacity over 80 minutes, they just didn't die. These guys, they literally did not die, and they just kept going, and they could stand out from the crowd, for the last 20. So you're like, you guys are doing something right, So let's have a look at it. So that's what I did. I went along one day and got involved. Walked through. It was CrossFit San Diego at the time.
Yeah. Can you remember your first workout?
Yeah. It was thrusters and running.
Yeah.
Like 15 thrusters from 400 meters, 5 rounds per time.
Doesn't not sound like my kind of thing.
No.
Anything with running, I'm going to struggle with a little bit.
Yeah. So that's what it was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But look, when I walked through the door. Luckily, I walked through the door of a place that had a lot of integrity. That was really close to the essence of what Glassman was trying to preach and trying to convince people that this is the most effective way to train. For that complete sort of development of all physical skills. So, their message was very clear. They were in direct communication with the boss, so their story was similar to his, the way they communicated, the way their coach's eye, the way they talked about it, the whole thing, their setup, their gym was impeccable, it was clean, I walked into my first CrossFit gym and I had that sense of intimidation as well. Yeah. Even though I'm a well-developed athlete and I've got some physical prowess, I still got this sense of whoa, shit just got real. Yeah. Eyes open.
You do get kind of like, okay, what's this all about? Yeah. Well, there's some dudes working out, wow, they're fun, and some girls, and they're really throwing that weight around. They look impressive and stuff. I think that's a big thing for people that walk into
but even just the standard box, the gyms I've been used to, like the standard global gym, rows of treadmills, aimless shit going on, free weight section. You know, it was just all separated. This place was a hive. It was full of energy. You know, it was raw. It was just like rigs on a wall with barbells.
Yeah.
No mirrors. Everyone's kind of like interacting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Headphones
so
on.
straight away you're like, whoa, this is completely different. I've never seen this before. So that was it was an awakening. You know what I mean? In that sense. And that's why I got that sense that shit just got real. But it wasn't like, oh, shit just got real. You know, I'm not good enough. It wasn't like that. It was like, I want to take part in this.
Yeah, this is cool.
This is good.
Yeah.
This is an environment that I've struggled to find. You know what I mean? I don't hang out in bars. I don't do the club thing. You know, I'm pretty sensitive to places where I'm going to find a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
You know? I just don't hang well in places like that.
You want that authentic, genuine kind of experience where you go
but
in.
I want to interact with people.
Yeah.
But this is the level I want to interact on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people were really into what they were doing. They were pursuing excellence in human movements, whether they knew that or not, but they were all trying to get better. And not just like they were getting better with a focus. They had like a template to work from. They had this, you know, what is fitness, all these articles, the direct line of communication going with Glassman. So it was really, you know, it was a great thing, the whole, that first time I walked in, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how did
that straight away, that whole hat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just knew.
Yeah, you were like, this is it.
I'm going to be hanging out here a lot.
Yeah. So you went and trained there for a while. How did you become a coach? How did you start coaching? I mean, obviously you were a coach
First
anyway,
thing,
but like,
I had no intentions of being a personal trainer, a physical trainer. That's not where I was going.
Yeah.
At that time. But like when I turned the corner and I said I'm going to do things differently now, make better decisions. I'm going to start looking after myself. I basically, I thought, and I'm sure you've gone through this, man. Everyone kind of goes, well, I'm just going to start again and figure it out from scratch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you can do that a million times.
Yeah.
I'll start again and I'll figure it out from scratch. No. Like,
yeah, I know.
I had, that time, like 27 years of life experience.
Yeah.
There was moments in those 27 years where I was full of passion, where I was fully bought in, where I was like, I feel juiced, you know what I mean? I feel I'm pumped about life because I have this and this going. So I got to look at those things that really got me juiced, that really got me focused, that got the best out of me, that made me feel good, right? And fitness was always one of those things. I feel like I could compete with anyone on a level, if we're just going to talk about fitness, you know? So it was always a place where I just flourished, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's where I stepped up. I wasn't afraid to step up, you know, every time. So it just kind of all clicked. I was like, why go away from that? Why rub it all out and try and start from scratch and find something? It was there. Yeah. And then, you know, this place, this environment I walked into, just tapped into that. So this is what I want to be. You know, because you don't think, I didn't think it's a gym as a place of work. It's a place where I used to go and keep fit, stay in shape, you know, keep it all together and keep my head straight, you know. But this was different. There was a whole social component to it. There was an interaction. There was a vibe. There was an energy. There was a level of competition, because that always got good things from me. You know, I mean, just being in those environments. I'm not saying it's for everyone. I'm just saying that helps me in a positive competition, not a negative. Not you know, just using those other people's energy.
Yeah, not an aggressive kind of like, I'm trying to combat you every time. It's more of a
I've already done that, man.
Challenging, like, oh, okay, we're trying to push each other, but in a positive way. Like, we're trying to get the most out of each other rather than trying to smash you down. Yeah,
you're pulling off mine. Everything is energy, man. Everything is energy.
Yeah, I 100%
you here, this is energy, right? We're just pushing energy around. There can be a positive energy or it can be a negative energy.
Yeah, and people pick up off that. Yeah. People pick up energy real sensitively.
Yeah.
Some more than others, and some are good at
reading it. I'm hypersensitive to energy.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's just something going on in my nervous system or something. It's like, just the slightest bit of movement, someone breathe, it just affects me, you know what I mean? So I have to be careful about where I go because it has such an impact on me, you know. I got to make sure I'm getting enough positive in to counteract the negative, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, straight, like I said, straight away that hole was halved. Boom, that's done. Now going on to being a coach, that evolved from just practicing, just learning how to train properly.
Yeah.
Right? Because obviously, I've been an athlete, you've been in professional setups, you've done the thing for a long
you've done
time,
quite a lot of training.
but no one ever showed me how to train properly. They just asked me to do some work. You know, get out and do this, get out and do that. But no one ever actually broke it down for you. Here's what we're training today. Here's why we're training it. Here's, you know, here's how to squat. Here's how to lift. Here's how to do the thing. You know what I mean? And do it well.
And this is why you're doing it as well.
Yeah, the whole reason is that, you know,
mechanics, the like energy systems, like all this kind of stuff. This is what it's going to do for you.
Yeah. You start, a lot of light bulbs start to go on.
Yeah.
You start to understand that there's a whole world out there, even though you've been living in it, because you've been like training, it's just been a massive part of your life.
Yeah.
Even though you're living in it, you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
And when you walk into a place and there's people there and they're humble and that rubs off on you and you sort of lower your guard, you drop your ego at the door, as they say, then there's a willingness, you become teachable. You know what I mean? Like now you can actually learn because you're humble enough to say that, you know what, I don't know, but I want to know and I'm excited to know. So teach me everything you can. And when they start to teach you and you start to practice and implement and you really start to see the results and feel the results, you know, you see the limitations just brushed aside.
Yeah. That's a really cool point as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing I dig about this place is like seeing people figure out that they can do something and they're like, oh right, I don't have to worry about not being able to do something now. It's just like, what else can we do? Yeah. What's next?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, everyone's got limits, you know what I mean? But it's you don't shy away from them.
Yeah.
Like you really can't. And that's why if you train in a certain way, if you push the limits in your training, you'll push the limits in your life. Do you know what I mean? The things that just kryptonite you, the things that just your weakness, the hit you spot. I'm not saying I'm like Superman or anything like that. I still have holes where people push it. They find the button and push it.
Yeah.
I turn into a 2-year-old now.
But all
bets are off.
But you recognise, and I think this is the cool thing, the powerful things. You know where they are, and you know where to stay away from them, and you know how to work with them, and where your strengths are. And it's funny because I feel that a lot of the time that people's strengths are also their weaknesses. It's just the flip side. It's that like yin and yang. It's the double-edged sword. It's whatever way you want to put it. Like all my strengths are also my weaknesses. You know, and if you enable them, you can end up letting them kind of take over. But if you kind of use them to empower yourself, you can make good changes because of them.
Yeah, I think like whatever you find in life that helps you like focus your mind and address weaknesses, whether it be in food, whether it be in lifestyle choices, whether it be in your fitness, whether it be in fixing engines in a car, whatever it is that gets the most out of you and makes you go and look harder and deeper, and then pulls out, you know, a more effective way of doing things, and you grow from just that area, then that's going to have a ripple effect in every other area of your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's the idea, man. That's what this is an experience that like we try, and you know, our whole thing is like we're trying to professionalize this industry, and to be professional you need to come in at a certain level. Like that's it. You know, you got to justify that to be a professional. You got to like show your wares and show your skills and show that what you can actually do for people.
For sure.
In a training environment, you know. And I think that's critical that everyone should find that, you know, because it has massive, like I said, it just echoes through the rest of your life, you know what I mean? And then you can start looking at the hard stuff, because you build courage, you build confidence from that, and then you can move that into that area where it's just sore, just hurts, but then you're like, you know, you can stand up to it and say, you know what, whatever, let's just take it on.
Yeah,
you know?
Once you can get through some workouts, there's some workouts that will come, you'll be like, I'm never going to get through that. You get through it, you're like, wow, actually,
you're in the middle of it now, and you're just there like, get me out. I want out.
Yeah.
You know, and if the room wasn't full of people that were pushing as hard as you and trying to get to the same place at that moment, you just pull the ripcord.
Yeah.
You just go like, I'm out. But that's the whole idea of it, working as a group, working together, for that hour, for that 20 minutes, whatever it is. That pulls you through. That's what really develops strength. Not just in a physical way, but in a mental. And that's
almost
me,
as valuable.
Everything starts here, man.
Yeah.
Everything starts here. So if you ain't training that, if you're not pushing that, if you're not developing that, you're going nowhere. You're going sideways.
Yeah.
And sideways is just.
You're not a big fan of sideways.
No, don't do sideways, no. It's either this way or that way.
So you went and saw some other boxes around America and did that thing, and then went back to Ireland.
Well, I practiced. No, I got into that gym, did the thing, learned it, got coached, learned from scratch, built myself up, started addressing all the limitations that I'd created from the training that I'd done previous to this, and the lack of range that was there, and etc. I just fell in love with it, man. I had a passion for it. I wanted to know more. It was the first thing I ever really read was Glassman's stories. I was, I'm not much of a person to pick up and start reading, but I wanted to read this stuff.
Like the first journal?
Yeah, all his first stuff, right? That first message that he put out. And the essence of it was just beautiful, man. It was so true, so on point. And I was practicing it. I was doing it daily as well. I was really getting into it. So I made a decision that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to create environments like this. I wanted to create an experience where people could come and get the truth, get support, do things, do it right, really set people up for success.
Yeah.
And, have a good time doing it,
Yeah.
And then give them also this sense of, show them what discipline was about. Because people think discipline's a bad word. I did. You know what I mean? There's no way you'll discipline me. Man, I'm just different or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't play by the rules.
Yeah.
But
Free spirit, man.
It depends how you look at discipline.
Yeah.
Everyone needs that bit of discipline. It's self-discipline. It's
Yeah.
you. It's on you. It's your life. It's your body. You decide how that's going to go. And you decide that from the choices you make, the food you eat, the exercise you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone who walks in here makes that, and does the fundamentals, does class, works with other people, and they make fundamental and conscious decision to take things seriously, take that fitness. I mean, not seriously to the point where you're not having fun. You're just serious. Seriously doesn't mean that. It just means that you're giving yourself that level of
you're giving yourself
quality.
a chance to learn, to get better, to be supported. That's what we're trying to create here.
Yeah.
The minute you walk through the door, that's what we want. They will feel that level of intimidation that I felt.
Yeah.
But that intimidation can scare you off because you're just not willing to step up and say, you know what, I don't know, or I need help, or there's a million and one things we said out there and I don't know what's true anymore.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of messages as well, in the fitness world. There's this guy's saying that and this guy's saying that, and people constantly argue about the right standards, the wrong standards.
Yeah.
What training you should be doing, what you should be eating, what you should wear. I mean, Jesus, there's so many different messages out there.
It's like opinions, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's got opinions are like assholes.
Yeah.
Everyone's got them.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not discrediting anyone.
No.
I just found something that worked for me.
Yeah.
And it's so simple. It's a simple, very simple thing, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
Once you do it and you do it right, it's very hard to go wrong.
Yeah.
If you want to dial in and get a little bit deeper on all this other stuff, go ahead and do that. That's the platform this is giving you. But we do the basics and we do them really well.
Yeah.
And we develop a massive base of fitness. We tap into every physical skill there is, and we support that through through that group atmosphere, that energy you get from the group, and it's sort of mixing it with people on that level. So, so I got into when I made that decision that fitness, gyms, experiences, this is what I want to do. I want to be in this daily. I want to be in here every day. I decided that I'll start looking at the gym business, I suppose, and how this thing works, because at that time I was just seeing it from the member side.
Yeah.
I wasn't seeing it from the other side. So if you're gonna, like I said, when you're gonna do something, you're gonna try and do it right? So I spent a lot of time, I looked at the two areas where I needed to learn, right? I needed to learn about coaching. I needed to learn about programming, because at that time I didn't know much about programming. And I knew that if I was going to do people a service and set them up for success along with myself, so I could, you know, keep that retention high and build some loyalty and trust between me and my members, I had to know what I was prescribing.
Yeah.
Because if I want a certain response for that day from the body, if I want to dial into some area that this is where we want to go today, then I better know the proper prescription. So I looked around to find out who was making the most sense of this sort of mixed modality training, right? And you know, I looked hard, and there was a lot of articles around. There was some people that were the cream was starting to rise to the top as such, the real thinkers of fitness, and the people that were really embracing CrossFit and what that was doing. And I came across a guy, James Fitzgerald, and his brother Micheal, and they were on a real path of discovery. They were really trying to see where this thing could go, and what the best way to go, and how to like properly prescribe and do like you know, what's the word? Yeah, just like really digging down into it. They didn't really know where they were going. They were going on a rabbit hole, yeah, because this was all new. Like, but just I felt
adventurous, basically, like going out into the wilderness, climbing the mountain for the first time, like.
What's the best way up here? Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to figure that one out. Yeah. You know, and that's what they were doing. And so I just reached out to them and I said, look, I really like what you guys got going on. I like what your message is. I'm reading your website every day. I'm following your workouts, and I'm getting places with it, and I'm feeling really good. You know, so you're obviously doing something right, because the workload is just right, the prescription is right, the mixing of gymnastics, Olympic lifting, all that sick.
And the response to you again.
Yeah,
you were like,
I just felt
great.
Yeah, I feel good. It wasn't just a beat down after beat down.
And you see that a lot. Like, I speak to people and stuff, and that's part of the reason I think really embrace what we do here, to the point where I wanted to come like work here and be a coach here and stuff. Was that for that very reason? It wasn't just like, you know, and you can still do that based on any program, but you can kind of beast yourself constantly. You see some people that you know do get so addicted that they come in all the time. You can still do that no matter what the program is. But I think that's the point, is having a varied program that gets the best out of people, makes them feel great, rather than just making them feel like, man, I feel tired. I feel wrecked.
Look, I've been there with it, you know what I mean? You of course, you know, have a habit of like overdosing. So I can go all the way down into that. And I've been down there, and I've ended up in a bad place physically. You know, my mental state, my physical state was a mess. Yeah. I had adrenal fatigue. I was right off. You know what I mean? Literally in a car crash. I was like, what have I done? Well, I just went too hard. I didn't know where I was, you know, it wasn't aimless.
Just didn't know where the limit was.
No, I didn't know where the limit was, and it wasn't specific to my needs.
Yeah, I mean, some people like I feel like I kind of sometimes need to go to where my limit is. So I'm like, okay, that's where I need to stay away from. Yeah. That's the red line. That's the danger place. I know where to go up to now.
Well, look,
and that's a personal thing.
I know, we've all seen it, Terry. You know.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Price gave me a very affectionate nickname when I first joined the gym. We did a workout together. This was actually one of the first experiences I had kind of talking to you and stuff as well. Did a workout together at a lunchtime class, and I went a bit too heavy with my weight for my capability at the time and broke myself a little bit. And you just came over and called me Terry and said I was Terry too much.
Well, that's not. There was a bit of history before that, man. It's like, it doesn't come from just one. Sometimes you're going to get it wrong once. This was probably in the high 50s at this point. I was like, this guy ain't going to listen to, like, maybe you want to slow down or just like scale a little more. Just like, you know, that's not going to work. So we're just going to have to flip it on his head and give you a name, Terry Too Much. Yeah. You know? Yeah, well, so I think, you know, it's an affectionate way of trying to get to the place where you're going to start to listen and go, why do you call me Terry? Yeah. You know?
Yeah, so, and now when I tell members, like, look, I've been there. Like, I genuinely have been there. I've been the guy that. I've been there. I've been the guy. I honestly, from experience, I still occasionally go there. Yeah. Just, you know, I like to push my limits, and sometimes I.
Yeah, but that's how you learn, right? You know, some people,
I need that. That's strength and weakness. We talked about it earlier. I kind of need to go to that place and be like, okay, that was wrong.
That's it. But that's what I'm talking about. The ripple effect of that now in the rest of your life. You know, you'll see it. I'm doing this and keep going back, getting the same result with this person. I'm obviously, I'm gonna have to rethink this one. You know? And from the way you train and going off the cliff or going very close to the cliff, it's gonna help you have a better sort of remedy at the time when you're like trying to you know what I mean? It's just gonna help, right? Yeah,
for sure.
So that I hung out with James. I just tried to soak it up. The guys are just full of knowledge. He's just when it comes to fitness and knowing the body and all that goes with that, life choices.
There'll be a number of people that listening that know exactly who you're talking about. He won the first CrossFit Games.
Yeah, he won the first CrossFit Games.
And he has his company OPEX, which you might see some people supporting t-shirts and stuff. Does a lot of courses, throws a lot of knowledge bombs around, has a lot of guys that he remote coaches and they remote coach, and there's a lot of athletes in and around this gym that obviously work with him as well, so, and his team. So for those that maybe are a bit new to CrossFit or new to our box, and you're like, who's this James Fitzgerald guy? One, use your Google on your phone and your laptop, look him up. Two, there's a bit of background for you in terms of who he is, but this guy knows his stuff.
Well, he was just the first guy I felt that was making sense of this whole thing, and that's not to say I understood what he was saying. I knew
what he was saying. Like, you were like, this is, I don't know exactly what he's talking about, but I get it.
But I know he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I trusted that he knew what he was going on about, and I felt like all I gotta do is just try and tap in for this, just try and hang on, because
soak up as much as possible.
He's into the science of it all. He breaks it right down.
Full on fitness nerd.
Yeah, big time, and he's good at it. And so I just tried to soak it up and learn from what it looked like to be a professional coach, because he's professional now. You know, so I'm just looking at him going, the way he moves, the way he talks, the way he delivers. He said, and I really just said, right, I've got to implement those habits into what I know and deliver as much knowledge as I can in the same way. You know what I mean? And not pretend I'm something else, not pretend I'm him, because I'm not, and I never will be.
Yeah, find your own voice.
I'm not a geek. I'm not going to look that far into things. I'm just going to look at the basics and do the basics really well. Yeah. That's what I do. So that was it. That's who helped me become a coach. And obviously the other people, the gyms that I've been working out in, they rubbed off on me too. Because I was, like I said, I was very close to the essence of this thing, because I know what it's about. I know the pursuit. It's very different today. It's not the same thing at all.
Yeah. You went around
something that grows this quickly cannot maintain that level of integrity.
Well, it's got to evolve. Everything's got to evolve. We've got to start somewhere, and as people dip in and add stuff, and any industry has to evolve. And I think that certainly there's been, the fitness industry, there's so many things going on, so many different ways you can take it. But from the functional point of view, there's definitely ways of tapping into different things and different ways of doing it. And I think that, from everything I've worked on in terms of the OPEX philosophy and then other things that we've implemented, it's always growing. It's always kind of how can we finesse that?
Yeah, but it doesn't get away from the essence. And the essence is pursuing excellence in everything we do. That's what we got to get it back to. How can we become excellent in this? How can we become excellent at that? If you compile a lot of excellence, you're in a good place. So it's always about that. The next move is based off that. Does this lead us towards excellence? Yes or no? And if it does, then you go. You make the decision to do whatever you need to do to get it done. That's everything we do in here, So that was it. That was the road I went down to become a coach. And then the other area was running the business, because people don't understand that even though you come in here, you don't get a sense of business. You get a sense of it's just clubs and cool shit goes on. Everyone's having a laugh.
I like these dudes. I want to work out with them.
Yeah, all that, right? So nobody sees it as a business. Because they're emotionally tied to it. Because they just think, oh, this is great, I'm going to get super fit, or I'm getting super fit, and these people are cool. Or where else would I get to hang out with some guys like this, or girls like that, So there's a business, and the idea of a business is to support the people in it. Yeah, that's the whole. I've never done any business courses, but just common sense will tell you a business is there to support the people that work in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out systems that are going to do that and do it well. So I knew back then that it's not just about opening a gym and preaching CrossFit and teaching people how to move and showing them better ways to live and eat better and all that. It's not just that. Right? That will get me so far as a one-man show. But if I want to build a business like a whole with great trainers, where cool shit happens, where magic goes down, that's going to need systems. You know what I mean? So I looked around and felt like who is running a center of excellence? Who is out there and trying to really think about the business end of this as much as they are thinking about the coaching and the end of it, right?
Yeah.
And there was a few people around like, oh, preaching this and that. This is the way you should do it. CrossFit will never do it, because CrossFit will never say how to run your business. It's the free market. That's what they work in.
Yeah.
So if they start telling you how to run your business, then they're liable. Okay, they'll tell you how to be a trainer and how to promote the word and get that right. Like, that's good, but they don't get into the business end of it, and I don't think they ever will, because it will stunt their growth as a company. So you have to look at the entrepreneurs in CrossFit. You got to find, like, not just like the great CrossFit coach or the facility. You got to find the entrepreneur, the person that really knows how to look at something and put a system, support mechanisms around that to support it, so it can go the distance. You know what I mean? Gyms come and go. Like, highest turnover of things, I think, are restaurants and gyms.
Yeah.
They come and go. They come and go because it's not a professional industry. You know, it's not professionalized. No one regulates it. It's a bit of a free for all. You know, if you're good with Instagram, now you get a following. 15,000 people, away you go, you're a fitness expert. Because you know how to cook 2 eggs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how to do some fancy shit in a pull-up bar.
So who did you find?
Yeah, I found people that I felt that really were looking at it and looking at it with detail to say, like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to set everyone up for success? How do we set the owner up for success? How do we set the coaches that work in it up for success? How do we set the members up? There's 3 people you got to think about. There's 3 groups. So this guy, Paddy from Vancouver, he's like a brother to me now, man. We've got, like, you know, I really feel close to the guy because I feel like he's really given me the tools, or some of the tools, to, like, implement all the best systems that I feel that do what I needed to do for everyone involved. And so far it's working. I've had to tweak them and shape them to the way I feel that maybe better for the way I want to do things. Yeah.
Well, also location, people, like, not everyone's the same. Sometimes it needs to be worked into a way that works kind of for you and for the people around you and the city you're in.
Well, I'm the one here seeing it. I'm the one looking at my experience. Like, there's another call, Jim call. I'm looking at my experience. I'm like, what does this need? The system needs to change. So this happens. So this happens. So this guy feels better. So they feel more motivated. So they see better results.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the owner, the coaches, and the members. So, you know, that's what I knew at the time. And I feel like that was just a moment. I had that moment, that spark, that light bulb, where it says, yeah, this is what I want to do, but you don't know jack shit about coaching, and you know fucking nothing about running a business. So don't even go near this till you understand.
Yeah. So you've got some foundation
at some level.
Yeah.
What it's going to take to get the business off the ground and keep it alive for 12 months and see what happens. And how you're going to communicate, how you're going to gather the knowledge you need to communicate good advice and good coaching to the people that are paying you.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's what I did. And from there, it's just a journey of, like, I traveled the States every month. I would go to a different city. I would see different CrossFit boxes. I would talk to owners, and I would take the good and the bad, you know? And I would take that, and I would leave that, and I would take that, and I'd leave that, and I'd take that. So that took about 2 years. So practicing CrossFit, learning how to be a coach, gathering knowledge and understanding the business, the gym business.
And then you felt like you had the recipe to kind of be like, right, okay, I feel like I've got a pretty good, some great mentors and people to learn from. I feel like I've got all the tools I need. Right, let's go do this thing.
Yeah, exactly. I have a good sense of people that are talking the truth.
Yeah.
And I can sniff bullshit out 100 miles away. You know what I mean? So that's just something I have. So when I hear somebody or I read something, I can tap into that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can see where they're coming from. And those two guys I talked about, Fitzy and Paddy, you know, they were speaking the truth. They were really like open people. They weren't closed. They weren't preaching. They were just like, this is what we know.
Just facilitating information.
Yeah,
rather
this is
than
what
giving
we know.
you
We've
opinions.
done this, it didn't work. We did this, it worked.
Yeah.
You know?
Here's the information. Here's the
Here's
resource
the
to back it up. Like we're not trying to give you an opinion based on
this is all
belief. We're giving you facts based on knowledge.
From their journey, from what they've discovered.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think again is a good thing to recognise.
The systems we use here will revolutionise the fitness industry. They will professionalise it. This is early stages.
Yeah.
You know, working the system has never been done before in the industry. It's all pay per hour. It's not done off like a commission of your member, so that member makes sure that like the owner knows that he's going to get the full support of the coach. You know what I mean? So it's never been done before. Because like I said, it's not a professional industry. You know, unless you go to like a professional football club, but how many coaches can they have? You know, it's a lot bigger than that. Like it's about we're training the average Joes here.
Yeah.
We're just taking normal people and making them,
giving the tools to be, you know, for excellence in terms of movement, you know,
education,
mind.
We're empowering them.
Yeah.
You know, now it's like now you know. Now you don't. It's not a choice anymore. You know the difference between doing things a certain way and doing them this way. Eating a certain way and eating this. You know, you've done that trial and error.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're hoping to do with the podcast. Like we had Erin on last time, we were talking about nutrition, and I hope a lot of people, I know some people came and spoke to me, so they found it useful. We have Blevins on talking about coaching, and that's kind of what we're trying to promote. Really, is like, you know, adding a little bit of voice outside of what we do here to the members, to kind of give them a bit more rounding to what we're talking about, but also then talk to people that maybe haven't been to our facility before, and just open information basically.
Yeah, look, whether you agree or disagree with what I say, this is my story. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you how I see it, or my experience, how I've ended up doing what I do. You know, and if people connect to that, if they don't, you like me, don't. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's not the point. It's like, you know, I'm still trying to search out a better way to do everything.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I'm not saying we know it, but we still need to know more about how to train people. We still need to know more about how to run a better business. You know, it's always evolving. It's not like, oh, I got the magic pop. I don't.
You don't feel like you're ever going to get to a point where you're like, yeah, I feel pretty good. I think we're done. Like, this is as good as it's going to get.
Nah.
No.
Days are numbered, man. Not happening. No, I don't think so, man. Like, that's not the way you want to go. There is no destination in life. I know that.
Yeah.
For me, it's just one day at a time. It's just like, take the next 24 hours, do your best.
Yeah.
That's it. There is no destination. You know what I mean? Like, you can have goals, you can have dreams, all of that. That's good. That's motivational stuff. That's great. But if you think reaching that dream or that goal or that shape or that physique or that amount of money is the destination, all everything comes to a standstill that day. It's like, I'm here.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about what we do as well. It's I kind of do a diagram when I first talk to someone about what we do.
Yeah.
And I kind of I draw a little circle, and then I do a line, and then I draw another little circle, and then I draw a straight line, and I draw a little circle and another line. And I basically say, this is what I'm going to teach you how to do a skill. And let's take pull-up. I'll teach you how to do a ring row first.
Yeah.
Okay, then you'll learn ring row and you'll move along to the next little circle. Then I'll teach you how to do a pull-up. And guess what? You'll go up because you'll start practicing the pull-up, and then you'll have to learn, you know, and it's constantly ascending. We're never static. We'll teach you a new skill to constantly learn. You'll never plateau. You'll always keep moving forward. And then, you know, every time I learn something new here, it's like, well, what's next? And we either know it or we find it.
Yeah.
And we'll find the next thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a constantly evolving thing. It's to do with everything we do in terms of training, everything we do in terms of business, everything we do in terms of communicating our message.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to introduce the podcast.
When you close one door, another one opens. It's always the way.
Yeah.
You know? And like, yeah, people come here with massive goals and stuff like that, and we're all like, yeah, why not? You know, but at the same time, make sure you reap the reward in the little nuggets that you gather along the way, because I don't say this to them because their perception of the goal.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the real fruit is in those little ticks or the little places where you get that next thing on the way to the big goal.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
Savor it.
Yeah.
So why the name Perpetua? Like, I know the story, but I don't know if everyone knows the story. Okay, we've got a few minutes. Yeah. We'll wrap up soon.
Perpetua, yeah. So look, I got to give credit to you know, I don't really play. I've always, since you know, got into this. The word unbroken had been thrown around a lot, like in the early days of CrossFit, unbroken and unbreakable and stuff like that. And I got it. It was like, we're going to fix what's wrong.
Yeah.
So we become unbroken.
Yeah.
It made a lot of sense, right? We're going to start looking at things properly. We're going to start executing things properly. We're going to start practicing properly. Yeah. Everything's going to get done. Everything's going to be correct. So we'll end up in a place where we're unbroken. We'll learn how to train, learn how to eat, learn how to make better life choices.
And then obviously if you're performing a modality like, you know, a pull up, and you do with the prescribed amount of reps, it's actually called an unbroken set. So
yeah, you
there's that play on it as well.
Yeah, that play on it.
Double meaning.
Set, it's a double meaning, but that does not mean what we do here. It's not what we do here is about righting the wrongs. Yeah. Yeah. Because people just aren't educated.
Yeah. You
people
eat
don't
things.
know.
You
sit down. They have an idea. They have some people are delusional. Some people have been given the wrong. You know, there's so many things out there. Like I was.
Yeah.
And like in some cases, in some parts of my life, still am.
Yeah. We're sensitive creatures. We pick up on information.
Yeah.
Someone says something enough to you, you're going to be like, oh well, that must be right. I've heard it a billion times.
Yeah. Exactly.
So in terms of Perpetua, it means unbroken, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's Latin for unbroken. That's it. So the word we just play, we were like, we don't want to call it unbroken gym, you know, or unbroken CrossFit, or whatever, you know. We wanted a word that was like just stand on its own. Yeah. And credit to the man who came up with it is
buddy yours, right?
Yeah, Ollie, first member here in London.
First one.
First one. Yeah. He's you're just going to do a podcast with this guy one day.
I'd love to. I've met him a few times briefly when he's been over and stuff.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's always got a good pair of trainers on. That's what I remember about it.
Yeah, he likes his trainers. And so he's a creative guy. He's got that he's tapped out, you know. Yeah. In a great way. You know what I mean? Once he uses it right. It's just beautiful, right? So it's like anyone's got that little genius factor there. Yeah. And they use it right, it's beautiful. When they go wrong, you know what I mean? Yeah. So he's done it all, man. He's the character. But anyway, he chatted about this and we played around and he came up with that and I was like, done. That's it. That's the word. Yeah. That's it. That's in my head. That stands out. I've got that. I see it. And then that's how this sort of, that's how we kind of rebranded it, Perpetua. You know, CrossFit for me, it's not my business. It's a tool I use to develop our members in a physical way.
And what would you say if I had like the one sentence answer to what would you hope for every member here? Like, what would be the thing that you were like, I want every single person who comes through this door to get? I mean, you talked about the experience, but that experience.
What is it? Well, you got to figure out what the experience is. To be honest, knowledge. I want them to be educated. I want them to soak it up, because I don't like when people plead ignorance. I think it does my head in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, so if I can empower people, then I'm handing you the knowledge. Yeah. It's not my decision anymore. Yeah. I'll make the decisions to a certain point because I'm the expert.
Yeah.
I'm here. You're paying me for service. But I want you to ingrain this knowledge into you.
Yeah.
So you have it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I love the word empower.
Yeah, empowering. This
Empowering
is all
people
stuff you should be doing in schools.
Yeah, I
People
so
shouldn't be
agree with
outside
that.
playing 5-side football.
Yeah.
Right?
Should be teaching people how to move well, fuel their body from the necessity of life. Yeah, I completely agree with that. We don't set people up physically to when they and I learned so much about nutrition in my adult years, right? and movement and all that stuff, and you feel like you should have learned it when you were younger at school. I completely agree with that.
100%, right? So that's it. We're educators, we're motivators, we're leaders in this area. That's our job. That's what we're here to do. So that's what I want people to do. I just want people to feel like they're learning, that they're gathering knowledge. When people feel like they're learning and gathering wisdom, it's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Like it gives people a lot of ownership. And that's all you want, people to start owning their choices.
100%.
And making better ones.
Yeah.
The rest of it just happens. Just show up, we'll get it done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you come in, we'll do the programming. We'll do the right things
that's the service we offer, right? And that's the best we can make it right now. Yeah. Like I said, we're always trying to be better. But right now, we feel like we're offering the best service possible for what we know. But if you're asking me what I want people to feel. I want people to feel like they have control over their own destiny in this area, in the terms of their health, in terms of their fitness, in terms of their lifestyle choices. I want them to fucking own it.
Awesome. So I think that's a really cool place to finish off. I'm just going to ask you a couple of little things. Just I like to bring some what's going on around us right now. Like we're off to the game.
Is this the Terry time?
This is the Terry time. Yeah. This is the last little sign off bit. We'll wrap this thing up.
You need a little game bell,
like a jingle.
Yeah.
I'll work on that. I'll get some kind of jingle involved. So we're off to games next week.
Can you do countdown?
What could I put it on?
Hum it.
I could hum it. I don't really want to.
Give it a go, man. Here we go.
No.
Next time you're doing the countdown.
Okay.
Alright, cool.
I'm being put on the spot here to do jingles, but we're getting to the games next week.
Yeah.
Things happening. So games next week. Another
CrossFit Games.
CrossFit Games. Yeah. Sorry, my shorthand.
Yeah.
So CrossFit Games next week. I think we're both doing over in LA, which is going to be pretty cool. 10th year anniversary. Are you excited for that?
Is it 10 years?
10 years. Yeah. I believe I think it's the last one in Carson as well.
Yeah. Who knows with CrossFit Games, man?
Yeah.
Variable, right?
Yeah, exactly. Prepare for the unknown and the unknowable.
Yeah, good on them.
Who do you think's going to win? Any ideas?
The fittest guy. That's the win, man.
Yeah. Not got any prices.
No doubt about that, right?
Yeah, exactly. No.
I wonder if I can put a bet on somewhere. The fittest person will win CrossFit Games.
You got any inside nuggets? Any ideas of what you think think's going to win? No.
Look, I appreciate this side of CrossFit. I've taken part. I admire it. It's not something I look at.
Yeah.
CrossFit Games, I'm down for that. I'm more interested in LA, to be honest with you, and the food and the good life for a few days, and throw in the games. It's great to get back to that side of what CrossFit's about, right?
Go and see the top
guys throw down. To see these guys and how they've evolved through using CrossFit, right?
Monsters that they are now.
But they're professional athletes. It's a different thing. It's a totally separate thing from what we do here.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? We've got to make that clear separation.
Yeah.
CrossFit is functional fitness. It's constantly varied. It's what these guys do is just beyond.
Yeah, we do it so we feel good when we like take the shopping home and move house and stuff like that.
Or when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel good.
But
Fraser.
I think I'm every year I root for Fraser and he comes down.
He's going to do it this year, man.
Yeah,
he's got fight in his eyes. Man.
Yeah.
He's ready. He's the first CrossFitter I've seen standing at the start of the lane in the lane,
snarling,
like he's standing in the corner of a boxing ring.
Yeah.
First guy.
Yeah, he's
good on him for doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big Fraser fan.
Because I'm not this whole shit of like, you're
Yeah.
there to compete.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's be honest about it. You're there to take each other apart.
Yeah.
So we can high five when it's all said and done. This guy really looks like he's there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting because everyone's very friendly. There's not really any trash talking or anything like that.
Nah, there's all that shit.
Yeah, yeah. So it's.
Come on, let's get down into it. But then you know, and then sorry, we'll probably take the wins.
Yeah, I think so. Those are my two picks. Again, they're my two favourites. So
yeah, me too.
So I hope so. I'm with you on that. I might get myself a little Fraser North Social sort of t-shirt or something on there. Get some souvenirs. Get some stash. And also we're going to look to do some kind of. It's not set in stone. We're trying to work on it, but maybe do some kind of thing here where we can watch the games with you guys. So look out for that. Speak to the coaches. We'll try and put something on. And we won't be doing it, unfortunately, because we'll be there. But look out. Ringside, yeah, we'll be ringside. Spot us in the crowd. But we'll try and do something for you, all the Perpetua Nation, to kind of come down to the box and watch it. Do like an event. So maybe on the last day or the second to last day or something like that. So look out for that. We had London Box Battles that just happened as well. Really cool weekend. So thank you for everyone that got involved with that. It was I really enjoyed it. It was,
man, you did a great job.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Mario really me and Mario worked together on that, and he was awesome. It was Mario. Yeah. Sorry, Mario.
Right.
Yeah. He'll have a go at me otherwise, but he held my hand and make sure I didn't.
Health and safety. Everyone's got a name in here, man. I'm giving them all away. Yeah. Terry, health and safety.
He likes to be by the book, so he was great as head judge. He really helped out. Had people like Stephen and helping out as well. He was awesome on the day.
Yeah.
Helped me out with the score sheets, and then all the guys and girls that competed did an awesome job. I think we did, and Hammersmith for coming out. If any of you guys listen to this, thank you very much for coming down. Yeah, really good environment, great atmosphere. So thank you very much for that. And we look for the next one, which will be happening in a month or two. So if you didn't compete and you want to compete, honestly, it's a fun day. It's just come down, have a workout, have some good food. Thanks to Sam from Parkway Kitchen for providing food as well. It was awesome. So I like to use a little bit of time to kind of give shout outs. Yeah. Any shout outs you want to give? Anything you want to say? What's going on in the box at the moment?
Just congratulate you on getting this thing going, man.
Thanks, man.
It's an awesome job. Well done.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah. I'm enjoying these podcasts.
I'm glad we all just get a chance to kind of, I don't know how many people we're talking to here, man, but it's just good to get an opportunity.
We got a couple of hundred on the last one, so
that's great, and it's you're giving us that opportunity to do it,
Thanks,
so hopefully it helps.
Yeah, I love it. And if I had a suggestion from one of the members actually, so. For questions. So next time I'm gonna put on Instagram who we're going to speak to next, and then maybe we'll get some questions for them from the members. So it was a good shout out. So if you have any feedback, honestly, I don't say this lightheartedly. There we go. Put my teeth back in. If you do have any feedback or any requests for things that you want, topics you want covered, people you want us to try and talk to, things you want to see or feedback about the podcast, please. It's for you. It's your voice as much as it is kind of for me to. You're still
understanding the direction of this, right? And the more feedback, the better, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You can start to evolve it to the audience.
Yeah, that's
along with your own vision.
Yeah. We record it in here, and it's great. And the more people we can get the message out to and talk to, and it's all about sharing knowledge for me. It's not about, like you say, giving all the answers all the time. It's about, this is what we know, this is where we want to go, this is what we do, come be a part of it. It's kind of a collective, it's not it's not top down messaging. No. But thanks very much for your time. I know we did two. I kind of mentioned this. It's been a running joke a little bit on every podcast I mentioned it. We did two. They didn't see the light of day. But thanks very much for your time. I know that you're real busy at the moment with stuff going on. So I appreciate getting just over an hour of your time. And we'll wrap it up there.
Cool, bro.
Awesome. Pound it.